When designing a conversational agent that assists users in the tools like Microsoft Office, it is a design choice if an agent designer decides to use the metaphor of a clip, which is an office supply. Since it talks in human language, anthropomorphizing it with attaching eyes and expressive eyebrows on it can also be considered a design choice. Just like this, conversational agent designers attach a certain metaphor to communicate its system. Then how would such metaphor like clip be perceived differently from other metaphors like duo from Duolingo or different animals from Nintendo's Animal Crossing? Or most commonly, a human forms like Microsoft's Tay or a Pandora Bot's Cookie. Hello, my name is Ji-Youn Jung, presenting our work entitled Great Chain of Agents, the Role of Metaphorical Representation of Agents in Conversational Crowdsourcing, with my co-authors Sihang, Alessandro, Bozzon, and Ujwal Gadiraju from Delft University of Technology. We were curious about metaphorical representation of conversational agents. According to a conceptual metaphor theory by Lakoff and Johnson, people's understanding of a complex and abstract system is often conducted metaphorically. Famous example in HCI domain can be the computer is a desktop metaphor, which helped people back in the past to understand what this computer thing was used for. By adopting the metaphor of an office desktop, people understood that they could make a folder, create files, send mails, etc. Lakoff and Turner identified a great chain of being metaphor in his following book, More Than Cool Reason, as one of the fundamental conceptual metaphor framework. Tracing back to the Greek philosophers like Aristotle and Plato, great chain of being is argued as unconscious cultural model indispensable to our understanding of ourselves, our world, and our language. Consisting of mainly 5 entities, God, human, animal, plant, and inorganic objects, its hierarchical structure implies that entities corresponding to a higher level of the great chain of being have all the qualities that the lower level possesses in addition to their distinct qualities. Great chain of being allows people to understand someone, in this case Achilles, with their schematic knowledge of lion within the animal domain. Here, the metaphor is emphasizing the bestial power of Achilles through our understanding of a lion. Then, taking each levels of great chain of being, what difference would it make when agent designers convey the system ability, which depicted as a black box here, either a woman, a bear, or a tree? To find that out, we adopted the lens of conversational microtask crowdsourcing. By making traditional web interface into a conversational interface, researchers have found that the conversational interface improves the perceived worker engagement and significantly higher worker retention while maintaining output quality. So we formulated our research questions as follows. How do different metaphorical representations of a conversational agent impact worker engagement, perceived cognitive load, intrinsic motivation, and trust in conversational microtask crowdsourcing? In this study, participants from a crowdsourcing platform, Prolific, were introduced to one of 6 metaphors for a conversational agent they interact with. In addition, they were also assigned to either an information finding task or image classification task, which led to a total of 12 conditions. After they finished conducting the microtask, they evaluated the interaction with the chatbot. Image classification tasks asked participants to analyze image of bird to classify the shape of their beak. The control condition did not show any agent avatar, while other conditions with metaphorical representation displayed their own avatars. In the information finding task, workers were asked to find taxonomic classification information about the bird on Wikipedia. We controlled the metaphor sampling with a stereotype content model, where 2 dimensions of warmth and competence has proven to impact impression formation. We sampled metaphors that belongs to a high warmth and high competence. And there we decided to have God as just God, human as trained professional, animals as dog, plant as avocado, and inorganic object as a book. Each metaphor condition were manifested not only with their avatar, but also with their narrative during the interaction. While they spoke most of the messages in the same manner, some messages differed in order to clearly communicate the metaphor of an agent with the workers. Our results indicate that different metaphors from great chain of being impacted 3 factors: that are worker engagement, intrinsic motivation, and perceived cognitive task load. On the top of the screen, you can see the overall results that was shown to be significantly different. First, the object metaphor received significantly lower engagement score and aesthetic appeal score compared to the animal, which is a dog metaphor. Also, perhaps in a similar vein, object metaphor also received a lower interest enjoyment score, which is a subscore from intrinsic motivation scale, compared to the human and animal metaphor and the control condition. However, interestingly, it resulted in lowering the perceived cognitive load compared to God, human, and plant metaphors. God metaphor resulted in lower perceived usability than the control condition without any representation, and God metaphor also resulted in higher task load than the object metaphor and the control condition without any representation. In conclusion, our results show that there's a trade-off of choosing one level of metaphor for representing the conversational agents. Interestingly, unlike previous findings where providing higher anthropomorphism and human likeness has shown to be beneficial, in our study, human metaphor did not overpower compared to other metaphors. It did increase interest enjoyment than the object metaphor. However, it also resulted in giving higher cognitive load to the crowd workers. For a design implication, it seems like in the context of conversational crowdsourcing, adopting animal metaphor or not giving any metaphorical representation seems like the most beneficial, as it improves worker engagement and intrinsic motivation without giving workers higher cognitive task load. When it came to the object metaphor, while it affected worker engagement and intrinsic motivation, it seemed to lower cognitive task load significantly than any other metaphors that designers could choose. Therefore, if agent designers consider lowering the task load as their utmost priority, they could adopt metaphors from the inorganic object domain. Finally, our study shows that there were no benefits in adopting a metaphor of God or a plant. In summary, our contribution can be threefold. We found evidence that there are trade-offs in using a metaphor from different levels of gray chain of being. We propose a method to systematically analyze such metaphor space by adopting gray chain of being framework. Finally, we enrich the current discourse on users' metaphorical understanding of conversational agents. If you're also interested in metaphorical representation of conversational agents, please get in touch. I'm on Twitter as Ji-Youn with 2N, and thanks for watching.